So it's been over a month since Titan Season 4 released Titan Season 4 Part 1, and fans have been wondering after the 6 episodes, when is Titans coming back? Some people even thinking it actually ended its season only after 6 episodes, and today we have some very interesting stuff to go over pertaining to that, thanks to Nicholas Copus, who is one of the directors of Season 4 of Titans, revealing stuff in a message that I think might be deleted now, but you know, it's fair game, just in case he ever watches this video. I have no idea, probably not. I have to kind of let the people know. So we're going to go over Season 4, when it's returning, when it's very likely returning, and it might disappoint some of you, and also updates on a Season 5 renewal, which has got me most intrigued. Plus, guys, at the very end of this video, I'm also going to go over some questions that carry along with the Titan Season 4 discussion series. So if you left some comments on the previous video, your question might very well be featured, and, you know, we're going to discuss some more Titans, because why not? So, I present to you this. What you're seeing on screen right now, I mean, there's meant to be some kind of something floating there. So, Nicholas Copus, in an Instagram reply, I believe, said this, and this is legit. Again, I'm not sure if it's available anymore, and I've got quite a bit to say about it. So let's start off the video with him saying, Part 2, I believe, will air on HBO Max in April. So a lot of people thought when Titan Season 4 Part 1 ended early December, we then, you know, got Doom Patrol. They also have a split season. They aired their 6 episodes, and people thought, well, okay, Doom Patrol ends early January, Titans will be back then. But no, I never personally thought that. I was hoping for mid to late February, early March at the latest. But Nicholas here says that he believes it will air on HBO Max in April, and he is quite connected to the show. This is to be taken with a grain of salt because he says, I believe. So, you know, he's not absolutely firm on that. But given the fact that we've heard nothing about it, given the fact that he is attached to the show, obviously it's not a firm date, but April, I would say, is looking like the firm time, roughly, to release. It could be April 3rd, it could be April 10th, it could be April 20th. Like, we don't really know. The time we will know will likely be when we're getting a promo, because just like Part 1, we got a trailer, especially as they're splitting the season up. You're going to get a trailer for Part 2, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the bell notification button, click it again, and set it from personalized to all, so you don't miss out on my future trailer breakdown, of which is going to feature a lot of content for Part 2. I hope not too much, because the marketing for Titans often spoils a lot in its promos. But anyway, I digress. Getting back to this, I would say April. April does seem to be the time. It is, unfortunately, quite a while away. You know, we've still got the rest of January. We've got then February. We then gotta go through March, and then April. It's like, oh, so who knows? He could be wrong, and it could be back slightly before April, but, you know, the more I read this, the more I think about it, the more it does seem to be the case. But that is why I'm here. I'm here to do the discussion series Titans videos, extra content, stuff like that, like at the end of this video, so I hope you guys stick around for that and engage in the discussion and theories. But let's now move on to something I didn't necessarily expect at all. So he said, I am sworn to secrecy on Season 5, ... Enough said. So I could read into this quite a bit, and I'm going to lay it out a couple of different ways. The fact that he said, I am sworn to secrecy on Season 5, and then after that went on to say, you know, enough said there, basically, makes me feel like he's heard news, and this needs to be stressed by me, that just because of what I'm about to say and what he said here, that doesn't mean we're getting a Season 5. Like, that needs to be registered, because he may have heard some encouraging things. That's why he's like, I'm sworn to secrecy on Season 5, enough said, but I can't say anything about it. I read that as an encouraging thing. Now, the reason why this took me by surprise, even though it's not an outright confirmation or an outright cancellation of Season 5, is because Doom Patrol and Titan Season 4, well, they're 4 years into their show, and I feel like these shows want to get to Season 5, but I've always been very apprehensive. Will they make it to Season 5? I've always also entertained the idea that they could go out on the season 5, possibly with a reduced episode count, maybe 8 to 11 episodes instead of 12 or 13. That's a possibility. Either way, they've been going for a while. They might entertain that final season. So if it got renewed, it would only be renewed to kind of let the show say goodbye and truly wrap up the stories. That was a thought I had, but I was also worried that they might not get renewed at all. But I was also thinking that the showrunner and the writers on both shows, Doom Patrol and Titans, might have written this season with that in mind. Now, that's not me saying they wrote this as an ending, because I think it's already been put out there by Jeremy Carver, who runs Doom Patrol, that, oh, we didn't write it as like a final season or whatever, and I'm paraphrasing there, but I do think there's going to be a sense of finality at the end of this season that kind of, if it was to end, as I've said before, you may have heard me say this, that it would be like, oh, we can imagine where things are going to go. There's not like a major cliffhanger, right? An example I often use for this vision, if you will, is, for example, if Titans ended last year, we ended season 3 with them all getting on the bus and they were going on a road trip, right? There wasn't like a major cliffhanger. If it would have ended there, we would have wanted more, but it wouldn't have been absolutely polarizing. We could imagine where the Titans are going, so think that kind of thing. I expect a similar thing for this season of Titans. It will end with some kind of finality. I would argue season 3 had a sense of finality, but they were going off to do something still, but we didn't quite know what. But getting back to what Nicholas said here, I am sworn to secrecy on season 5. To dissect that one layer further, why would he say anything about season 5 at all if we weren't remotely getting a season 5 or things just looked incredibly bad? Now, I'm not saying we are, and that's why he said it, but the fact that he said, I'm sworn to secrecy on it, well, that means he probably can't say anything about it because, well, again, you can look at this both ways, because it's either cancelled, but the fact he even mentioned it, I don't think, in my opinion, that he would mention it if this was an indication of cancellation. I think he says, I'm sworn to secrecy on season 5 because, and he puts afterwards cheekily, like, enough said there, because maybe he's heard that, yeah, you'll get another season, but it just might be a last, so he's like, yeah, enough said there, sworn to secrecy, but that should say it all, maybe. That might say it all. But I could be wrong. But to me, in conclusion, the fact that he even attached that to the part 2, I believe, will air in April, but I'm sworn to secrecy on season 5, enough said there, means that he's heard encouraging news. At least in my opinion, take it with a huge grain of salt. That's not me confirming anything. That's me interpreting with optimism about the fact he even attached that to the reply on Instagram. But let's just hypothetically say I'm right and this is something he's heard in a good way. That could still change. A few months down the line, even though he might have heard something, and that could be why he put this at the end, it could flip on its head and they're not getting a 5th and final season. So that just about wraps up everything. I know this is such a short message to do that amount of video for, but I felt like there was quite a bit to say because a lot of people were talking about it. People were still commenting on my videos today saying, where is Titans? So I hope that this addresses that for you. It is likely coming back in a few months' time. It is longer than what I thought it would be, but it is the way it is. So unless we hear anything different, assume that for now. And if we do hear something different, or if we get solid confirmation on a date, you know where to go. I'll be right here and you'll be the first to know about it. And as for season 5, well, that is something I don't think we'll find out about, like, officially for quite some time. Okay, so to make this video something a little bit more, I've taken some screenshots from the previous video. If you aren't aware, by the way, I've been doing a little bit of a post-Titan Season 4 Part 1 discussion series, so we've been nerding out about everything that's happened in Season 4 Part 1 so far, and on the latest video, I've now captured some of your comments. So this one interests me because Duan Denny says, it's been so great. I hope they don't cancel this show. And given what we just said, hopefully that doesn't happen. But then we have Aaron reply saying, I mean, Season 4 villains and story has been boring, and Duan replies saying, slow burn, I like it. And this kind of made me want to tackle it. It's interesting because I do still stand by what I said with regards to no matter how critical anyone you may be watching right now, or even me myself have been of previous seasons, I do feel like quite a few things were remedied, like the complaint with regards to, a Titan goes off by himself and there's no teamwork, they're always separate, running off in different directions. That is stopped. Like, there's no Hank and Dawn in Wyoming or wherever they are. And some random pub and karaoke thing going on. I'm not saying I hated that, I'm just saying there was a lot of different things like that. Dick Grayson going off. He's now a leader and firmly, listening to his team members. And, these were like huge complaints, consistent complaints. And they've been amended, in my opinion. Granted that Superboy has gone a bit rogue, but I think that's understandable with regards to the story. But for the large part, the Titans are a unit this season. But I think, going back to the screenshot, that the slow burn of this season has possibly put some people off. Now, not myself, obviously not Duan, and I've seen quite a few comments saying that they're still really enjoying the season, but Titans is such a polarizing show, especially having made videos about it for a long time now and seeing so many comments. So many people are like, just end this show. So many people are like, I'm low-key addicted. Some people are in the middle being like, I don't know why I keep watching this show, but I just still really enjoy it, right? I think this season has done something that they attempted to remedy from previous seasons, and that is the whole saying of, the candle that burns bright burns too fast. And Titans usually does that. In previous seasons, you have like the first 4 or 5 episodes go pretty ham, and then the back half in the writing, it usually dips a little bit, or it just wasn't as, I guess, engrossing or as entertaining, I would put it. So regardless of writing or whatever, the metric of entertainment was like fully bolstered in that part 1 of season 3, season 2, or whatever, right? With a few like heartbeat monitors going up here and there in the back end. Now this season, granted that in episode 6 we had a cool Temple of Azarath fight scene, and things culminated to Brother Blood Sebastian drinking from the chalice and embracing his destiny, it has been more of the theme of this origin story. We've always known that this season wouldn't be going from like episode 1, episode 2, Brother Blood's already got the Brother Blood suit and is just being evil for evil's sake. We knew it was going to be slowly getting into it, and slow burns aren't everyone's tastes. Because going back to what I was saying with the candle that burns bright burns fast, this season's going from it from the angle of, okay, we're going to take a slow burn, and then in the back half, the major WTF things will be happening. He'll get his suit. There's going to be a lot more at stake, especially now that he's, done the ritual, like what comes next. And that might persuade some people. Some people might be entertained, but still might critically think, yeah, but that still wasn't it. But personally for me, I haven't remotely minded the more slow-paced season. And I think that's because I like getting into the character of Sebastian, understanding the journey so far. But I've also been fairly happy with the way the Titans have operated thus far as well, going back to my comments on what they've amended from previous seasons. Superboy's on like a super intriguing storyline this season. Gar, again, something I failed to mention with regards to something fans have wanted and something Titan Season 4 has answered. He's obviously being put up on such a platform of interesting story and borderline really crucial to however this season will end, with the Titans coming out on top. Him and the Red and getting more into his powers, and I've heard we're gonna get some crazy things to come yet with stuff like that. I like that. I'm not saying everything has been perfect at all. I've been critical in my part 1 reviews in certain aspects in certain episodes, but I just thought that this would be an interesting little tangent I could go down with regards to the fact that this first screenshot was talking about the season. Oh, it's been slow and boring, but then the reply being a slow burn. I like it. I would love to know what you think. Are you a fan of Titans in the way that you've enjoyed it critically, but also from the entertainment standpoint? Or are you here and you're watching this and you're just like, I've watched it, I think it's been going downhill, and I still don't see what there is to this show? Let me know from both perspectives. Evaluate based off of what we've seen through part 1 so far, and no matter how you land, how do you feel, or do you anticipate part 2? Do you think, with the candle analogy of what I've been saying, it will bolster up and start burning brighter in the back half to finally sizzle by the time the finale comes, as intended, it ends the season? Let me know. I think part 2 is hopefully got to win some more people over who have been like hyped for Titan Season 4. They've been enjoying it, but they're like, this is maybe a bit too slow. Like, when are we going to get in? And that will hopefully be in the back half. Now, Quinton J says, I think Raven doesn't know her power yet. I think once she sees what she can really do, she will unleash her full power. Also, her suit does look awesome. I've seen mixed opinions on the suit. I personally think it looks great. Like, if you compare it to the comics, I don't know what people are complaining about personally, because if you literally brought that, it would be like she's wearing an apron, and then like the hood, it just looks all kind of one color white sometimes. I guess it depends on the artwork or what iteration of the comics you're looking at, but I think it's decent. Maybe people don't want the white Raven look, and rather the more default Raven look, if you will, from the comics, and kind of made by LJ Supersuits in the way they've gone with White Raven, but more of the usual colors that she has. But obviously she's going down some kind of White Raven arc. And going back to the original part of your question, you think that she doesn't know her power yet. I think that's potentially true, because if you think about it, the natural progression from here on out, she's at the end of that episode like, oh my god, how did I come into this? She started using her powers, but from here on out, surely she's gonna be like, oh, okay, so what is this about? What can I do now? What does this mean with my altered power set that doesn't look so demonic anymore? So yeah, maybe we could see more crucial aspects of her power, and maybe that could be very important to the latter of this season. But I still think that Starfire, who has been teased all season long, that she only used initially like a few percent of her power, but then in the latest episode, she utilized a much higher percentage, but the lab tech at Star Labs was really concerned about that because it could kill her. I think she's going to be like the OP, you know, very overpowered character this season, but who knows, they could toss that in there with Raven as well as Starfire. Next up from Earbud Thorn saying, dude, where's my Gar? Answer, Blue Valley, Nebraska. And he says this because the next episode, episode 7 of Titan season 4, is titled Dude, Where Is My Gar? And you may know that we're getting a Stargirl crossover, and we've seen Breck Bassinger, who plays Courtney Whitmore, Stargirl herself, with Ryan Potter's Beast Boy. So when Beast Boy teleported, maybe we're going to see him in the red initially, but maybe that teleportation, a working fan theory, is that somehow he ended up in Blue Valley, Nebraska. I don't know, but it would make sense with the episode title, because all the other Titans disappeared in a different way, a different like visual effects. They didn't all go red and crackly like Beast Boy did. So maybe they're going to be like, dude, where is my Gar? Literally. And that's because he's going to be the main part of the crossover. The only thing I feel a bit, not underwhelmed, but like, oh man, like I was hoping we would get more Titans in the Stargirl crossover. But if this line of thinking is true, and episode 7, Dude, Where Is My Gar, is the crossover between Stargirl and Titans, then it does make sense that maybe Gar individually is going to interact with those characters. But I want to understand how he's going to hop between Earths. Maybe they're going to forget that Stargirl is on a different Earth, and they're going to say that she's always been on the same Earth as Titans. I don't know about that. Maybe when Gar returns, the other Titans will get to see Courtney for a brief scene. Maybe they work that in there. I have absolutely no idea. And I believe there was a rumor about Doom Patrol being involved as well. And that would be really cool, because you would have Ryan Potter's Beast Boy interact with Javan Wade's Cyborg. And that's something fans, as well as the actors themselves, have wanted for a very, very long time. And lastly for this video, let me know if you want me to do like another full dedicated question and answer with regards to season 4, but to not drag this video out for so long, Gilby Rodriguez says, I think Jinx will come back and kill Mother Mayhem as revenge. Possibly, but in the last video we were getting into what if Sebastian did it. I personally prefer that option. It would also kind of follow very loosely how Brother Blood ascends to Brother Blood through killing the previous Brother Blood, which is their father. So in this iteration, he could do that except to Mother Mayhem, his actual mother. But you never know, Jinx could come back and get revenge. I wanted to tackle this question as well with regards to Jinx, because some people have been on about Jinx not returning at all. I can't remember if someone said like the showrunner said something or whatever, but even if he did, I think that wouldn't be openly answered. For example, if the showrunner Greg Walker said, oh, you know, we'd love to have Lisa Ann Balavinar back, and that seems like, oh, is she not coming back then? That's something he would say, because even though it might seem obvious she's coming back, he wouldn't say that in some kind of effort to like let somebody think that she wasn't coming back, if that makes sense. But who knows? I could be wrong, but like, why would you bring in Jinx like that and make a whole super suit, as cool looking as that one was by LJ Supersuits, for it to just die there and then? Like, surely not. Like, surely not. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do you really think that Jinx is done? I mean, I know what they showed, and she's like, oh no, not again, which insinuates to me that she's been in a death situation before, but she might be able to get out of it. Plus, she seemed to be recovered just in time as they teleport, so maybe Bernard and the lab techs at Star Labs can tend to her there. But yeah, something is telling me, like, I don't think they would go through that much effort just to, like, that's it. Like, the rest of the 6 episodes, not even one appearance from Lisa Ann Balavinar's Jinx. Like, that was literally it. my God, like I would have been like, why make a suit then? So would love to hear your theories. But guys, that wraps up today's Titans Season 4 video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to provide you a little bit of news at the beginning with regards to when it's returning, because I know so many of you have been interested about when it could return, and also the surprising possible tease about Season 5. But of course, it is open to interpretation there, so I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please consider sharing it. Definitely consider, I'm asking you nicely, to like the video. It really does help promote this out in the YouTube algorithm. But that's all from me, so thank you so much for watching. I hope that you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you fellow Titans in the next video. Goodbye.